No Guts, No Galaxy is recorded in front of a live studio audience. This is an adult podcast containing adult language. Consider yourself warned. Live from the Outreach Studios around the world, this is a No Guts, No Galaxy podcast. And now, your host, Phil, a.k.a. Sean Lang.
Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 79. My name is Phil, and I'm your host. It is June 26, 2013, and my shout-out, well, it's going to go to Flying Debris. You, sir, are a mech porn god, and obviously we'll talk about why. But for everyone else out there, I think you understand. You, sir, you're amazing. So let's arrange. Your children, my children, firstborns. Let's join this house. Daeron, what about you, bud?
Whew, it's getting a little hot in here. My shout out, this is Daeron, aka Bombadil, goes to the Free to Game podcast. It's FREETOGAME.com, and also to the possibility of NGNG Con happening late this summer in the San Francisco area. More news to come as soon as we get it set up. So got a lot of feedback. I'm getting emails almost every day from people that want to do this. So stay tuned.
Brandon?
Hello, this is Brandon, also known as Patrick Hill, and my shoutouts are going to, one, our guest, Russ, second, to MechSpecs, MWOG, and Aces, because we're always recruiting.
You whore.
Okay.
All right. I know, right?
Wow.
Laura, what about
He's
you?
shouting out to himself.
I'm literally the worst.
Well, hey guys, this is Laura. My shout out today goes out to the infamous Impaler for his RJC Memorial 24-hour live stream for autism, which will be held on Tuesday, July 2nd on twitch.tv/NGNGTV.
Yes. And that being said, more info is coming out. We're getting some graphics made and obviously a actual web post. I'll have all the information, times, dates, guests, and all the information you need.
The big special guest.
Well, we do have, Jordan Wiseman coming, and he's going to be... Maybe we can pressure Ross here on the spot. Maybe we'll ask him afterwards to show up maybe during the night. I don't know. But it is a 24-hour live stream, so it's going to be going for a while. And we need to be there to help support MB because, gingers don't have souls, so we need to feed him coffee so he keeps awake and all that fun stuff. But anyways, welcome to all of our live studio audience. We've got quite a bit of people here, actually. And of course, to all of our new listeners out there in the world, wherever you are, whether you're looking at mech porn, you're maybe drawing mech porn, or maybe you're watching mech porn, whatever you're doing, we say, hey, if you like what we're doing, head over to our website. We've got a tip jar on the right side. Show us some love, and we would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And maybe you're doing a little shopping online, maybe Amazon or Newegg or Tiger Direct. If so, help support the show while shopping for cool stuff online by clicking on the Amazon, Newegg, or Tiger Direct buttons on our website. Right side, scroll down a little bit. It won't add anything to your charge, but it gives NGNG a little kickback. It's a great way to support everything we do if you don't want to or cannot donate directly.
All right, and this week we've got the Catalyst Game Lab sponsorship giveaway, week 8, and I'd just like to say congratulations. By the way, someone was asking, how can we see who the winners are? I used to post that on Facebook, but it got lost so quickly. If you go to the giveaway links, it'll actually, when I lock out the thread, I put the winner and the name on the thread name itself. So you can make sure to check that out. And this week, we've got the BattleTech intro box set. We're giving another one of these things away. This is actually technically the old box set now because they've came out with a new design. So this actually has the old, I can say that, wow, old artwork. But make sure to go over there and check that out. And all you have to do is follow the simple instructions, register, post a comment with the instructions. I think, what did I do this week? I just set this up a few hours ago. Anyways, make sure to check it out, read it out, and post up your answer.
It's collectible already then, because if they have new ones, you won't be able to get this one.
I am giving away old product. It's what I'm doing, just throwing all that crap out there. No, it's actually brand new still in the wrapping and everything, and we just want to say thank you again to Catalyst Game Labs for sponsoring this. And let's go ahead and roll right into, our guest. We already know who normally is here, Garth, but we're not introducing Garth today. We're introducing Russ Bullock. He's been on the show before. Yeah, sorry, buddy. And Russ, welcome back. How are you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me back. It's been quite a while since I've been on the show.
was going to say, you were just at E3 and enjoying all of that going on, and then you come back and you unloaded some fun stuff this week. And before we get into that, obviously I just want to sort of say this out here just so everyone knows, for Project Phoenix, and just so everyone is clear and understands, as some of you guys know, over the years, the BattleTech license and the mech designs have came from different sources, that due to the various legal reasons and disputes and stuff like that, a lot of those designs have been known as the Unseen, and then later the Reseen mechs. And of course this falls under, Harmony Gold owning the Warhammer, Marauder, Archer Rifleman, and of course Dougram, the Battlemaster, Shadowhawk, Thunderbolt, and Crusher Joe, the Locust. Now, that all being said, Russ, what is Project Phoenix to you and to the PGI, and what led to its creation in the first place?
Well, boy, I mean, this is one of those subjects that it's hard to kind of make your thoughts go cohesive, because these unseen mechs, as you call them, have been something that people will always think about and talk about whenever MechWarrior BattleTech is brought up. And there's still a lot of misinformation out there about the whole legal dispute. We've certainly spent significant amount of time and money with lawyers and everything else figuring it all out, and we feel like we have it all figured out at this point. So for us, this is something we've been working on constantly, always, ever since the beginning. I mean, even go back 3 years to the 2009 trailer. I mean, it's something that needs to be a part of MechWarrior and BattleTech, because frankly, I think a lot of people were upset about the situation, and I think rightfully so, because the fact is that BattleTech and MechWarrior owns, really, from our perspective here, which is what kind of led to the launch of Operation Phoenix, they own everything about those mechs, essentially, because they own the name. They own the name Shadowhawk. They own the name, even the other ones, the Marauder, Rifleman. They own those names, and they also own the entire description. They own the fact that it's an X tons, that it's a bipedal mech, that it has these weapons and this loadout and this, that, and the other, and there's just tons of canon describing that. So the only thing they didn't own was those original, 1980s line art drawings. So yeah, they are separated out into 3 different categories, but the 2 categories that we've been able to work with are the ones you mentioned, and really we were able to take those aspects that BattleTech owns, the descriptions, the names, everything else, and we have Alex, aka Flying Debris, take the inspiration of what a Shadowhawk is, for instance, and create a new design for it. So I guess to summarize it, we finally found a way to, we feel, very legally and 100% Piranha owned artwork now to bring back some of these classic designs, and I couldn't be more excited about it. I mean, I love the Locust, love the Shadowhawk, and the Thunderbolt, and I have to admit, though, as per usual, I like our artwork quite a bit better than the original artwork in most of the cases, especially with the Shadowhawk and the Thunderbolt. I think they're just modern now, and they look awesome. So it's almost a perfect situation. It's not a perfect news situation for everybody. Everyone's going to want to talk about the Macross ones. They're going to want to talk about the Rifleman, the Marauder. Our stance at Piranha is, and our legal team's perspective, is that those mechs would be in the very same situation as the Dougram and the Crusher Joe ones that we've done. I mean, we own the names and we own the descriptions, but Harmony Gold and the Macross guys are still very active with the Robotech brand, and they are, I think there might be a movie, I don't know, there's stuff going on with it, and so they're much more aggressive and much more whatever. I won't get into it, but basically we don't know if we want to go there yet. Never say never, but I would say do not hold your breath. Let's be grateful for what we have. Dougram, Crusher Joe, we've got some really cool classic mechs back, and really happy that we could at least bring these ones back. And
well, I think it's important, Russ, to point out too, for those that maybe don't know or have sort of forgot, it's not like PGI was the ones who to put these designs in this place as far as legality. This is something that's been going on for a long time. And for me, and I just want to go out, obviously on the record yesterday during Twitch, what we were doing is I'm thoroughly happy that this is going on with Project Phoenix. Me as a player, as a fan, and whatever you want to call me in general, I am happy that this is happening, because these are designs that we haven't seen in over 15 years, and I can be appreciative of that. So,
yeah, I can definitely second that.
I'm going to jump in again and just make sure everyone understands, I guess what's going on with the revenue that we're making from Project Phoenix. I mean, I think it's important for everyone to understand that, this was a very opportunistic thing for us, not only just to bring classic battle mechs back that mechs that haven't been seen since MechWarrior 1, if then. So that is just absolutely amazing, and they're going to be great in the game. But also the revenue that we generate, just 100% of it goes towards the game, right? 100% goes towards the major features that we're implementing, that we are implementing and will implement. And the money goes 100% towards, marketing the game, so that, as we launch the product and have a launch event and marketing initiatives, so we have a greater chance of, really making MechWarrior, reach a broad audience and become, the hit that I think all of us want it to become. It's already doing very well, but you'd still have to describe it as being, very much a MechWarrior fanboys game, which is great. That was what we wanted it to begin, but I think all of us would like to see MechWarrior kind of take off. And so all this the revenue from it, and hopefully it does very well. So far the program is doing very well, but yeah, I just want everyone to make sure they realize that it's all the money is going back into MechWarrior to make the game even better and more successful.
Well, okay, so now I totally agree with Phil as being very happy with the mechs you chose. But now, when you realize you were able to work out a deal with Dougram and Crusher Joe, and then you have these, specific mechs available to you, what made you sit down and choose these 4 specific mechs? Now, I know we've talked to you in the past when you've done the Twitch streaming and so forth. You've always loved the Battlemaster and the Shadowhawk.
Shadowhawk,
yeah, Shadowhawk, of course. But why these 4 mechs, and which one are you looking forward to playing most?
I'm sorry, you're saying as far as additional ones that are possibilities?
No. Just why these 4 specific mechs for this package? What made you land on these 4?
Right, thank you. I would say it was just extremely obvious. When you look at, we wanted to do 4. We wanted to do 1 per weight class. That was kind of obvious. When we look at what was available, these are just the top 4. I mean, it's really just that simple. I mean, Locust is an absolute no-brainer for light. It's the only one really in the category of these two, those two categories we discussed. And then, for medium, there's actually Wolverine, I guess, Griffin, and Shadowhawk. They're all 55-tonners. But I think the Shadowhawk was the most popular traditionally. We could argue that point, and I think it just was ripe for a redesign like we put into it. Thunderbolt was no-brainer for the heavy, popularity-wise, and of course Battlemaster is just no comparison. I'm not sure if there's another assault actually. There might be a Scorpion or something like that, but again, it was just no contest. That's just a simple answer. These are the best 4. There's a couple others there that I know people were wondering about. I think I mentioned them, and we talked about them before, Daeron.
Wolverine, Griffin.
The Griffin and the Wolverine. Those are very much possibilities now. Those are. I'm
awesome.
sure it might happen, but these 4 were the obvious choice.
So now we usually see you running around in your dragon. Which of these 4 mechs are you most looking forward to trying out?
Oh boy, that's tough. I actually pilot. Definitely, it's kind of a split between mediums and heavies. I'm spending a lot of time in Centurions, like Yamalang, and a lot of time in the Dragon. So mediums and heavies. So if tradition holds, it's going to be Shadowhawk and Thunderbolt. But in this case, it's kind of weird. I'm kind of drawn all over the place. I really can't wait to run around on the Locust. I love that mech ever since the original Grey Death trilogy. When his woman,
Laura?
essentially, Laura was in the
Lori.
Locust. That was cool. And the Battlemaster just looks absolutely ridiculous. I love it. It's going to be so cool.
Now, all this being said, for those that don't, I figure everyone in this channel knows about the packages and the deals and stuff like that. Now, if you're a number cruncher and you're looking at the value of these packages, and if you don't understand, let me just make it very clear that these packages have very, very good value. The Overlord tier specifically, $80 for, just the amount of content, like I can list it all out here, it's high up there. I mean, when you do the value and the math, it's over like $250 of normal, like in-game, like if you were to base everything off right now. What has been the community response so far? And I'm not asking for numbers in general. I'm just saying, for you being, in the position you are, what have you seen as far as the community response?
I've been overwhelmed with how positive it was. I mean, I knew that people would love the classic mechs. I mean, that was really a no-brainer, and I was really pushing the agenda on this side. I'm the one that spent a lot of time talking to lawyers and just getting everything straightened up and kind of jamming this down everyone's throat here to do this. I mean, everyone wanted to do it, but I put a lot of effort in. I almost gave up a couple times, guys. So I mean, this almost didn't happen like as much as like a few weeks ago. But we got it done. We made it happen. I knew people would like the mechs, but I didn't know how people would react to another program like this, because we had the founders or whatever, and I know Tex is gonna light up probably, but I definitely thought we'd get a lot of like, what the hell, where's these features first sort of thing, and we're very sensitive to that. I mean, trust me, we feel it, guys. It's like, we got to deliver on some of these big features, but also at the same time didn't want to hold off, because I mean, when an opportunity like this to work with the classic battle mechs, when the time was right, we just couldn't let that pass up. We had to act, when we felt like we could make it happen. And so it was kind of time sensitive, and there's no doubt we wanted these mechs to be a part of the match. And it had the added benefit of helping us, deliver on the things that we're trying to deliver. So there was a lot of talk, a lot of like, just making sure that this was the right choice for the game, and I think it's worked out really well. I guess I would just really thank everyone for supporting and buying and just showing some faith in us, and we're gonna deliver on those features. And I think part of this podcast will definitely spend some time today chatting about some of those big features, and trying to assure everybody that the resources are still in the right place. It's not like everyone fell off those big features and they're working on these mechs now. I mean, it's not like that. So I'd like to spend some time later in the podcast talking about, kind of the makeup of the team and some of those big features, and, the fact that, those things really don't slow down at all when we do something like this.
Absolutely. Now, I just want to run a couple things by you real quick just to confirm some information. The first one is, if people order a package, one of the packages before July 25th, they get the 30 extra days of premium. How much longer then will the packages be available after July 25th? Do we know that yet?
I don't think we do, and I think that we're being cautious because we learned a lot during the founders that we kind of set some end dates, and we didn't originally keep the initial end dates we set. So right now, it's not something that has an end date. Is it logical that it could go on longer than the 30 days? Yeah, I think it will. Will it go beyond launch, which is still late summer? That I can't say. But we know
Sure.
at the very longest, October 15th, everything gets injected. So it certainly isn't going to go beyond that. So I don't know where the end date is right now. So you got a little bit of time, guys. If you don't have the money right now, but you will next payday or next month, I think you're fine. But don't wait too long, because I don't know for sure how long it'll last.
Well,
Sure.
look at it this way, just real quick, just off those dates. Let's just say you don't know if it'll last after or before. Even if you save up like $1 or $2 a day, how simple that is for the next 60 days. I mean, you're going to have plenty of money to be able to do that. Then I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, like, even if you just save $2 a day for the next 60 days, you're going to have plenty of money to drop on this package. So
now, just to confirm, because some people I see are extremely gleeful about this one fact, which is that, okay, let's say you buy, just say the Overlord package. Does that mean, now these mechs are supposedly dropping October 15th. Does that mean that people who buy the Overlord, for example, will be piloting a Battlemaster essentially 3 months before the people that don't?
Yeah, right quickly, there's a lot of people in the chat that are pointing out that October 15th isn't summer any longer. They're correct in pointing that out. Launch will happen before the October 15th, then, right? You're right. Summer ends late September, or September 21st to be precise. So launch will be before that, before September 21st, or by September 21st. So this injection happens, obviously, a few weeks after launch. Just so they're not one and the same. We didn't announce the launch date. October 15th is not the launch date. That's when everything gets injected. Basically, I think you're right. So I'm going to get myself in trouble here if I get something wrong. But I think because there is a logical reason behind this. I mean, it does take time to make these mechs. We actually had to add resources onto our team so that we could make actually 2 mechs per month instead of the one we've been doing in order to accomplish this. And essentially, the way that the production works means that we have to roll these things out. So I think that October 15th, I believe, yes, everything gets injected, but the way that they would go on sale for people to buy the, I guess, free version, so to speak, the regular MC C-bill version, so, they no longer have the booster on them, etc., just like Founders, those ones come delayed afterwards. So Locust might be, I think it's a full month after. So let's say November 15th, you can buy your Locust with your C-bills, MC, regular route, and then a month later. So I guess it could even be 4 months later for the fourth one for the Battlemaster. So don't take that as locked in stone perfect knowledge, but it's something like that. That's the general notion. Yes.
Excellent.
Awesome. Now, I'm assuming, and Russ, you can just say, shut up, Phil, I can't talk about this, but might we see something very similar to the release of the clan mechs? I know you guys have sort of hinted at that, possibly. Is that something you want to just talk about, or just say, hey, we'll talk about it when we get there? You can tell me to go the other direction.
Well,
shove it, Phil.
All I can say is, we've thought about it. We've thought about it. That's it. We don't even know for sure. I would say, yeah, there's a reasonable chance because we have a process now, right? We've done this a couple of times. We did it with Founders. We did it with this. You guys, it's a great way for the community to say, we want to have a top-notch, MechWarrior product, and the money gets poured back into the game. So it's feasible, but right now there's no plan, cooking, brewing. We've just got our plates full, like so full. To get this game launched, to get these, these major features, that we're launching here in 2013. Clans.
That's fair. That's fair, Russ. I totally understand.
Priority. As soon as those things are done, and that I guarantee, as soon as those major features are done, that's like the next major thing.
Now, that being said, I have talked to you a few times about this, and I think as we're getting closer, I know NGNG will be sitting down with Paul and Brian and you and talking about upcoming community warfare news bits and tidbits and all that. But speaking of which, the community in general, I think this is its one thing that it's really waiting for. As a Merc, as a house, anybody out there, seeing the game take on that next step to community warfare, planetary warfare, and stuff like that. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, obviously, you guys have sort of stated release, late summer. Is there any details you want to drop on us? Little hints or just some, factual information about that?
Yeah, well, I think the way I'd like to approach that question is because, I can't today come on and give specific details to everything. A lot of people, of course, I can see you're chit-chatting about, the clans. Are wondering, again, there's community warfare, there's clans, there's the timeline that we originally set, and there's no doubt that the timeline now, and this is what's going to explode in the forums, is in tough right now, right? I mean, the original timeline we set and when the clans showed up. So, we're just working away as fast as we can. So I think that the best way I can explain that is maybe giving a little more information to listeners about, how things have played out here since open beta and some of the dependencies that the various features have with each other. So, I mean, my opinion is that the timeline was kind of interesting at first. You know, it was kind of cool, the tweets and everything, but it's not really a driving factor anymore. It's a minor tidbit. The only importance left there is that people say, yeah, stick to it, because they want their clans, right? Mm-hmm. So otherwise, it's not a very important aspect. It's more important to have a quality game across the board. Yes. So I hope that people realize that we have been trying desperately to do everything the right way. I know sometimes something isn't perfect in the game and we have to fix it, but for the most part, we have tried to make the game better and better and better, and with a super high quality development, and we've seen the rewards of that in a lot of ways, with players, with the player counts, with the game success, the articles. PC Gamer gives a great honor, obviously the top 25 shooter of all time in open beta. I mean, that felt really good.
That was pretty trippy.
I think we're not resting on our laurels, though. We're working extremely hard, but I want to tell the guys that so we go open beta, and everything has so many dependencies. I mean, first off, we say, okay, we want to go 12v12, and a ton of work is uncovered, and logically so. And the work always just ends up being a little more than you think, or even significantly more than you think. So before we can go 12v12, we say, well, we really need to get all this movement code done, and we need to fix all the whole state rewind, etc., so that the network bandwidth is capable of supporting 12v12. Alternatively, you're adding 33% more battle mechs to the field, so therefore, you have a lot more strain in your client FPS, so we have to do a lot more optimizations. And so that first has to happen before 12v12 can come out. And then, of course, people start talking about, well, user interface 2.0. And user interface 2.0 has some dependencies on staff to make sure that certain things are done first. And then community warfare, for instance, is heavily reliant on user interface 2.0. I mean, if you think about all the things that we're going to be doing with factions and everything else, I mean, it's one thing to spend all the time building those into a user interface that we have currently that is going to be completely rewritten or is incapable of doing it properly. So it's added, some extra time before we can get these features in people's hands, but we're just trying to do everything the right way. And so right now, I don't have specific dates for all the things. All I can say to you guys for sure is it looks like 12v12 will hit in July. I think we're within a week or so of doing a public test now. We should be testing it internally tomorrow on the public test server, and then we'll get everyone on there quickly. Hopefully that goes really well. We might uncover some work that we have to do, might add a little more time, but I would say we're within 30 days or so maximum of getting that into public hands, even if we discover a little bit more work on it. User interface 2.0, really trying to get that out before our late summer launch. Community warfare is definitely it's going to come out in phases. It's best for me to let you guys get Brian in another podcast here in the next little while and talk to it, because I can't talk to it as well. But it's going to come out in several phases, and so you will have stuff this fall for sure, and then more and more depth will be added. But all in all, there's no doubt that we're not talking about anything here that isn't like a solid 2013 feature through and through. So that's as precise as I would dare get at this point. I want to make sure everyone understands that there's guys working on those things, and it doesn't matter if you see like, let's say, a small feature go in, like, I don't know, a startup sequence in a battle mech or something like that. Oftentimes we hear people say, what are you doing? Why'd you spend any time on that? Where's community warfare? They are different staff, different people. There's no slowdown on those major features when people are doing things like that. Same goes with the classic mech program. Right now, it's just a matter of this has to get done before that can get done, and that has to get done before that can get done, and it's all happening And thankfully, we're going to have some really great patches coming up. It's been a little bit slow lately because they've been smaller patches, a little more content related. But in July, we'll see 12v12. We're going to see some tutorial and some UI 2.0 stuff coming on, also July, August. And some more major would be a new map also in July. So there's going to be a lot more kind of heftier patches starting up pretty soon and heading towards fall.
Well, I was going to say, this sort of brings me into our Mech Worldline topic of the PA, Penny Arcade, did a report on MechWarrior and map and design and stuff like this. And for someone out there to say, you know, what are you guys doing? You're sitting around doing nothing. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much work and effort pre-research goes into just creating something. You know, as some people say, oh, it's just a map. It's, you know, blah, blah, blah. And this is just one insight, and I really actually enjoyed this PA report. If you didn't read it, make sure to do so. Actually, I think if you're going to go out on a limb and point a finger at anybody and you haven't read that article, I think you do need to give it a look. It talks about from concept all the way down to, you know, the design, textures, the geometry. I mean, it goes through everything. And we also did get 2 screenshots of new maps in the future, and that's the volcano map, and of course there's a shot of the Terra Therma shot number 2 in there as well. Now, that all being said, I think my point to all this is we as the community want things to happen immediately. I mean, me and Daeron and the crew are no exception. We want community warfare right now. But it sort of harps back to what me and Daeron says, and Daeron always says this, is patience, and there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. And as Russ just said, just because like they announced Project Phoenix and, you know, now and we're going to talk about this in the second and the hero mech, it's not like everything stops behind the scenes and the whole entire company is working on those assets. No, it's a small select few. Yeah, you know, and while that's being done, other people are working. And again, I just think it's unique. A lot of people jump on that bandwagon of, oh my God, you know, why are you working on this when you could be working on that? And of course, you know, we have Garth on here all the time that's like, guys, really?
A big part of that for me is that I know already that this is a game that I'm going to be playing for years, not for a month or two, but for years. And so I know that there's going to be content coming out that entire time, and I have the patience to wait for it. I do want it all now. I do want it all tomorrow. But it's all coming, and I am so excited about all the features that you just mentioned.
You know, and as maps too, I think Russ mentioned next month another map comes out. And then on top of that, you got to look at, they just changed up and updated, like Caustic Valley looks completely, not completely different, but there was a lot of passes on it. And like Thad said when we had him on Mech Steps and Beer, it's like an ongoing thing. As they get better and they, you know, they may go back and touch up a specific thing. They may find a bug here or there, and they go back and they fix the things. And it's always just, you know, one pass over the next pass, and it just gets better and better and better. So, you know, I just think it's interesting that everyone sort of jumps aboard that, oh, what are you doing? You're not doing anything. Why are you focusing on this? When it's like, that's a select few people on the entire team. So,
yeah. And if some of you out there don't have, I guess, the belief that they're going to fix the things that are broken, like somebody said, what, you want to play the PPC alpha meta for the rest of your, you know, those years? No. I mean, if they're fixing it. If it's been out there for a month or two, that doesn't mean that they're ignoring it. All these things that need improvement are being constantly improved upon. Every patch has something that's fixing something. So I have complete faith in these guys that they're going to, you know, build the game that we want and that we will be addicted to for years.
Well,
I'd love to talk about that for a bit if you want. You know, just kind of the whole this is OP, that's OP. I'm not sure who's joking and who isn't in chat, but like pretty much everything is OP in someone's mind right now. But anyhow, yeah, if you guys want to talk about that for a bit, we can.
I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, no, go for it. I mean, that is something that I think short-minded, you know, like people who think on the short term get upset about these things. I'm not worried about PPCs because I know they're being addressed. I know that they're being looked at. I have the patience to wait.
Well, I think what it comes down to is, and this is before Russ gets in his spill, is I want the devs to be making data-driven gameplay changes, not just based on, oh, he said or she said or just random. And you guys would feel the same thing. You don't want, you know, someone else's just opinion to be taken into account. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, I want data-driven things. When they use the heat maps and where people are dying to make changes to a map, they're using data to make gameplay changes. And so when it comes to like weapons, we don't have that information. Then someone would say, well, why aren't they sharing it? Because they don't need to, and they would be wasting time. Like,
I actually have the reason we don't share it. Data basically makes itself happen. If I tell you that Gauss rifles are OP, the first thing you will do is go use them constantly. And then what will happen is our data will go up and, everyone's using Gauss rifles, look how OP they are. But if I tell you, no, you can't hear that, you'll watch the meta shift, and people will constantly try new ones and go, wait, what's OP now, and try something else. So if we said anything was being used more than anything else or less, it'll just skew the data even further.
Well, Russ, what is your opinion on all this?
Well, I mean, I think we have a lot of players that play a lot, and they play the game more than I do, and they are extremely passionate about it, and they have a lot of really valuable information. I would like to stress, of course, like I have a few times in the past, I know it's really tough. A lot of people think that they can't be heard unless they show like a super high level of anxiety, just like, like screaming, yelling, this game is the worst game I've ever played in my life. And they play,
I'm gonna quit if you don't fix this.
They played like 600 matches that week, but it's like they haven't played a game this shitty in their whole life. It's like, okay, all right, let's just chill out. Now, I want to just kind of remind people, and I know it can be frustrating, the patient approach can be a little frustrating, but we've kind of learned the patient approach, by kind of making some mistakes. In the past we've pushed some stuff in pretty quick and had some shit, explode. So with a lot of people, this many people playing and this many builds, MechWarrior is in a tremendous amount of customization, and it's a tremendously hard game to balance perfectly. And if you think back in the very beginning, if we'd have taken the people's exact advice in the beginning, it was like, hey, make PPCs like MechWarrior 4, and they did 17 damage. Just do it right now, because PPCs are awful. Like, they're terrible, they're useless. Like, crank up the damage to 17 now.
Can you do that for April 1st next year?
And we were saying, no. Let's hang tight here. I mean, they do 10 damage like they're supposed to. And now all we did, of course, was we fixed some underlying issues. And we can go back and talk about. Sorry, what was it called again? Oh my gosh, the umbrella of community. The
pillars.
Power. Come on, hook me up.
Cone of silence.
No, come on now, all you.
Are you talking
Raven
about community pillars?
You Raven drivers, Raven 3L drivers with your
ECM.
Thank you. I just had one of those moments. I'm getting older. ECM. I'd circle back on that in a second. But so all of a sudden we fix, the whole state rewind of the ballistics and various things, and next thing you know, all these PPC shots are connecting, and all of a sudden they go from like, please, almost double their damage to like, nerf these things right now, they're OP. So that's why sometimes the patient approach has to be taken, especially, and again, going back to ECM, I think it was a nice discovery that someone on our forums actually pointed us the right direction. It was very logical. Someone who just thought it through and said, look at all the mechs that have ECM on. No one's complaining about, these ones. They're only complaining about this ones. And the underlying problem was more about, the hitbox of the Raven 3L. They're more so than it was about ECM. And we still had to put some other features in to help counter ECM. And I think it's in a reasonably good place now. So anyhow, guys, what I'm getting at is we're going to tweak things further. I'll talk about the boating heat thing a little bit. People have been really laying into me on Twitter on that, like, worst idea ever. I'm going to Paul's on vacation now. He's back on Tuesday. I'm going to talk to him. It's kind of on hold for now. I've had my concerns about it too. Not so much that I just think that it's maybe overly complex to communicate. So anyhow, I'm going to continue to talk to Paul about that. But I think we've got some really small things coming in right now that are really good ideas. I mean, I think even this next patch has this critical heat issue, which I think will be very subtle but very effective. I mean, right now, probably one of the bigger problems with people boating is that there isn't enough of a penalty for the shutdown. I feel. I mean, if you shut down the wrong spot, yeah, you can get owned pretty quick by other mechs, but sometimes you don't really take that much of a penalty. So if someone's running their big boat and they are already at 90% heat and they fire off all those 5 large lasers again to get the kill, and they do get the kill, great, good for you, but you shot your heat up to 150% or whatever, now you're gonna take some damage for that, right? You're gonna be cooking up a little bit while you cool off. Anything over 120%, I think it was, you're gonna start doing some damage to your mech. And also if you override that shutdown, you're going to be taking that damage. So that could end up being a very nice subtle deterrent for boats to, well, just do as much alpha striking as they're doing, or to use their chain fire more frequently, or to just not, because the root problem, of course, is that someone's pinpointing like 50 points of damage in one spot, right? So something like that in the subtle change will minimize that a little bit. And there's some other nice ideas flowing around with maybe a PVC, for instance, needs to do a portion of its damage as splash damage. You know, just spitballing here. I haven't even talked to Paul about it yet, but I talked to Daeron and Phil about it the other day. You know, maybe it does 75% of its damage to the point of impact. Because it's electrical weapon, it does 25% of its damage to one surrounding component randomly or something, excluding the head. Again, just spitballing, but I think the point here is that some very small changes make all the difference. I mean, sometimes we change a weapon from 0.8 to 0.9 and it makes the perfect amount of difference. So I don't think it's as obscene as people think. I think when I play myself right now and I go out there and jump around, I don't personally don't really have a problem with it right now. I've certainly been killed by some PVC boats. I don't personally have that big of an issue with it, but I think some smaller tweaks, maybe this critical heat thing that's going in, if you overheat too much, couple other minor tweaks, it might be enough. If not, we'll continue to look at things. Maybe continue to look at that boating thing that Paul's been trying to design. Maybe there's something there too that just kind of adds another very small layer to just increasing the skill level of the game. I think that's what people want. They want people to really have a high level of skill, not beat them with momentary bits of good aim where they can launch everything at once.
Yeah, I totally agree to these small tweaks. Otherwise, you're just overcompensating back and forth.
Yeah, and I think it's really tough. I mean, at the end of the day, how I look at balance is you want the decision to be not so tough that they can't make a decision, but that, should I take a large laser? Should I take a PPC? Should I take this AC5? You got to look at that's how I look at balance, is that all avenues should be, could be effective in the right circumstance, and that as a player, there is no just right, I have to take this all the time because it's the most effective, thing. And, to me, that's what game balance is making that decision as hard for the player, because all weapon systems are as close to, that desired outcome. But, well, guys, let's go and move on with the podcast. Specifically, I want to talk about the Phoenix designs. Man, I don't have any pants left after yesterday. I'm actually not wearing pants right now. Just saying, Shadowhawk and the Locust, the artwork came out. Shadowhawk came out today. The only negative thing is that logo on its shoulder. Other than that, I can look past it. I don't know what's up with that. Just saying. Yeah, should have a Davion Sunburst on there. That's what it should have.
Screw that shit.
Yeah, just saying. FR
I definitely think these are the best versions of these mechs I've ever seen. I'm just blown away by the artwork, which I always am with Alex, but yeah.
And of course,
I'm looking really forward to is the Battle Master, just because of the outline there. It looks looks like it's going to be very interesting.
You're going to love it. Love it.
What a tease, Russ.
Of course, the Battle Master is kind of what started this, right? If we started with one, it was like, what would it be from those? And I basically said to Alex, Flying Debris, I said, all right, make me a Battle Master. Make me a Battle Master under this premise. It has to look like a MechWarrior Online mech, under the current styling, like it's going to fit in. But also, I want you to take the name. I want you to take the description of the battle mech as described in the Battletech lore. I want you to take all the canon that describes it as having a large cockpit, etc., and what weapons it has. I want you to create me the new Battle Master. He created it. I thought it looked ridiculous. that was kind of the beginning of it. Then we chose the other 3 after that, but it was definitely Battlemaster was like the first one to really spark the process.
I was gonna say,
Go to him and say like, hey, I want a mech that looks like a pony.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Russ was just talking dirty to everyone in this channel for about 30 seconds. I'm just saying, every one of you got excited. I don't care who you are. All right, so the Locust and the Shadowhawk artwork came out. Obviously, we have the outline of the Thunderboltman and the Battlemaster coming out. Like, super excited. You guys are going to love them. And, of course, the Hero Mech. The next one is, well, we've got a sneak peek of it. The screenshot is up on our Facebook and our website. The Dragon Slayer, aka the Victor Assault Battle Mech. Check this out. First off, I mean, I'm sort of excited because it's Assault Mech with jump jets. So of course I'll have it. And so, what are your guys' thoughts out there? Let us know. Post on there. But Brandon and Daeron, what about you?
Because, here we are looking at these 4 new mechs that are coming out, and the Victor here, the Hero Mech, is kind of being overshadowed. But I think this is an awesome looking mech. I think it looks badass.
So you're saying it's like, Victor, about that Shadowhawk, though, let's be real here.
We don't have the artwork of the Battlemaster yet. We can look at this Assault Mech artwork and love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it.
Yeah, I don't know where the name came from. It's a little odd, but I think it looks absolutely absurd. I love it.
You don't know where the name Dragon Slayer came from, huh?
No, I didn't. I just noticed one day, said, hey, they're calling it Dragon Slayer. That's a couple of the other guys, here that work on that stuff. Same guys that came up with Eolia, Miramets, and everything. So they've done a great job. You guys can fill me in if that's as our Merc unit may be hired by Kurita someday. I'm not going to really comment, but
yeah, Snake Killer would have worked. See you, Garth.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you tomorrow morning, buddy.
See you in the morning, man.
And of course, so that we had that come out earlier today. It's up on Facebook, and of course, it's on our website. You guys can comment and stuff like that. But we try to get things, and Brandon was the one who pointed it out, and I posted it up, and we try to get stuff up as soon as possible. But rolling into the mobile HQ, the Dev Stalkers section, obviously, Russ, you've been on our crosshairs. We got you saying, we got the mechs coming up that you might like, just saying. Of course, we know what that is now. You also stated player count is way up, building momentum nicely for launch late this summer and the release of our 3 major features. I know a lot of people, and if you just want to clear this up, Russ, a lot of people question why you guys don't share the numbers. And we've heard Brian, and we've heard you sort of say before that someone may take those numbers and look at it in a different light, when you guys are looking at them in a positive light and stuff like that. Now, a lot of other games out there do show how many people are in the game playing. Like, me and Daeron were just playing some, World of Tanks, and there was like 32,000 just people on the US server. How do you feel about this? I mean, obviously, if you can't talk about it or don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But do you want to hit on that? Because a lot of people are they keep always going back to that. Why don't you tell us the numbers? Why are you being so secretive about it? Why,
Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, I think that all of our reasons are business reasons that, in the end, probably don't mean a lot to our players. So the players aren't really going to understand the value there, and just say, who cares about all that? Give me the numbers. We're doing a lot of stuff on the side, whether it's European distribution deals or all sorts of stuff, and we, the numbers for MechWarrior, we call them the KPIs. That's just all the numbers associated with the game, and the ARPU, and how much money people are per user spending, and there's all these metrics that the free-to-play games are based upon, and metrics are extremely strong. They're really as strong as any game out there in the industry, truly, World of Tanks or anything. But the player counts aren't as high, anywhere near as high, of course, as League of Legends, World of Tanks. These are games that have launched for years and have had massive marketing budgets, and really MechWarrior to this point hasn't done much marketing. We've done very little. We've started doing a little bit in March, and we've been building a little bit. All the marketing really starts in September. So up to now, even though our metrics are exceptional, we really haven't gone up there yet, really digging for players. You know, like trying to find all the players, because we start spending the money finding the players. We want the game to be able to be ready for them, so that they actually stick around and play, right? So, yeah, I guess there is a chance that right now they might say, "What? There's, 7,000 people playing at the moment. There's 30,000 playing World of Tanks. This game must suck balls," etc. So obviously, there's a little bit of concern about that. I just think that it's something we would certainly consider putting a player counter back in, but I think it's not going to come until post-launch, when we're actually fully marketing and launched and open, and it's not beta anymore, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So yeah, maybe guys look for that, later in the year. But
I mean, it makes sense from me looking in, saying business doesn't want to get a ton of people in until the game's finished, or at least to a level to where all the features are in. So when someone comes, they're not like, where's community warfare? I totally get that. To me, looking on the outside, but
you were saying with very, very little marketing, 7,000 is a huge number.
Yeah,
right,
and
so
I understand. You're wanting to put your best foot forward when it's time to release the numbers, and obviously with very little marketing, the numbers will change significantly when the marketing campaigns start in late summer. So I am on board with that.
Now, this being said, we do have a few community questions, and some of them, might be directed towards you, Russ. You don't have to answer them. This is one of those disclaimers we tell everyone, we may not have an answer, we don't know, but we've got the first question is Laser Angel. He's actually out in the crowd right now, and he's just wondering if there have been any new hires at PGI recently. We know they had a big hiring drive at the conferences and expos, and of course, if you check out PGI's website, there are some job posted and listings on there, so if you haven't checked those out, make sure to go do so. But he says a simple yes or no answer,
So have you been hiring?
Yes, we have hired. We're getting quite selective, but we've hired, 2 or 3 or 4 individuals since GDC. We hired 2 just in the last week plus. Brought on some extra bandwidth to help with the extra mechs for Phoenix, etc. So yeah, there has been some hiring, but not a massive explosion of it. Very careful hiring at this point still, and remain that way certainly until post-launch. But we're always looking for talented people. Certainly doing some hiring.
All right, thank you. We've got Grimmer who says, if hit points of mechs will hit points of mechs be increased for 12v12, and will shots per ton be increased as well? I think this is more towards a Paul, or definitely a Paul question. So we may have to save that one for him next week.
I can say that at least there's been no hint towards that, so whether or not that's
the
case.
I would just say that Paul and I have had a discussion about it. About a month ago, we sat down thinking that we were going to double the hit points of the internal structure of the mechs. Because we doubled the armor points, as everyone knows, which I think was really good. I mean, it especially back in the days when your hits didn't register, it felt really good. And now that everything registers, it almost feels like there's not enough anymore. So there's just a lot more DPS flowing around in the game. So it's a very logical thought question, and we've thought about it. Unfortunately, we sat down that day and we realized that indeed the internal structure hit points were already doubled. I guess we doubled those at the same time we did everything else. So so these mechs are pretty sturdy compared to your standard MechWarrior games. But I don't have the answer to that yet. Essentially, we understand that the root question here is, and the problem is that, hey, I die a little quicker now than I used to. More things are hitting me and dying quicker, and it's taken away a little bit of that feeling we had in the beginning where you really felt like you could survive a mistake. You were in a giant mech and you don't feel like you can survive a mistake as much as you used to. So we're aware of it. Sorry, we're taking the patient approach there as well, making sure we wanted to get all the whole state rewind stuff in, which we now have. So we were waiting for all that to happen first, and so we get a real indication of exactly what the DPS is that's flowing around. Now that we're in that state, I think we'll be reassessing the need to possibly do something like that. So I wouldn't rule it out. It's certainly possible.
Well, and you guys do have coming up the community or the public test server as well. And from what Paul and Brian were saying is, these things are going to be open to everyone. So when they do need tests and they do need people will be able to go in there and give feedback, not to mention just the data that'll come in from those servers as well. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. I can see why you may want to lengthen out. I mean, right now with 8v8, I've been in random matches to where my team or the other team is dead within 2 minutes of an engagement starting. The entire team is gone. So,
let me jump back in. One thing I would say, though, is, and I think this is hopefully, a reflection of the ELO system being improved and working better and the matches being closer, but the matches I'm in now are getting really, really close. I mean, there's always the odd wipe, but the majority of my wipes are like kind of 8-4 or even more competitive. Quite a few that are like, down to one extra mech or someone has one mech left. Very, very competitive. And, it used to be, I would say a couple months ago, the average match time in Mech Worldline was short. I mean, I want to say 3, 4, 5 minutes. Now my average match time, and I haven't got any metrics to look back is up now, are closer to 8, 9, even 10 minutes. So even though, the DPS is flying, people are learning how to play better, and people are surviving longer. Overall, the matches are lasting longer and they're living longer. So there is that to take into account. And I hope with 12v12 and some of the larger maps, and the mechs now as you spawn are going to be starting out in their lance formations. So for instance, over here there's 4, over there there's 4, over there there's 4. So hopefully we're kind of promote the lance functionality more when there's 12v12 and say, you 4 go that way, you 4 go that way, you 4 go that way, take the 3 paths. That way you're not going to be returning the corner and just having a big 12v12 giant slugfest. So yeah, sorry, just a few other little bits for people that they may or may not have known.
Oh, not a problem. And of course, guys, we will have Paul and Brian on talking about community warfare features when they can talk about them. So I'm not going to answer or try to answer any questions because that information has yet to be released, but we will have them on the show relatively soon to answer your guys' questions directly. Because guess what? Me and Daeron, Brandon, everyone, and Laura, we're all excited just as well. About these things. So as soon as we can, we will have them on the show. But I do appreciate everyone coming out. And of course, don't forget, we've got the Catalyst Game Lab sponsorship giveaway week 8. It's the BattleTech introductory box
this
set.
Is BattleTalk.
BattleTalk. There you go. That's what. Yeah. So and make sure to check it out. All you have to do is go over there, register really quick, post. And answer the question. There's 2 simple steps. That's all you got to do, and it's free stuff. So why not? And I'll actually be throwing up another giveaway in this past week before I go on vacation for 4th of July, and that's going to be the magnet sets. Jeez, I can't even talk right now.
So he's going to regurgitate a magnet set. You heard that here.
Yep, it's going to happen. And of course, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Facebook, we're up to 39. We're almost to 4,000 people on Facebook. So if you haven't liked us, hey, head over there. It's a great way for us to get you information, to be able to interact. And that being said, it's just it's awesome to be able to post up something immediately, whether it's a picture of the hero mech or some news we found or something like that. It's always a good thing. And
it's basically the hub of all BattleTech and MechWarrior news and porn.
It does make it easy. And for just to throw that out there, we did post up another comic that was brand new, and it was called The Valkyrie's Nightmare, and it was done by Sir Dub. I just want to say thank you again to Dan. He's slowly going to be creating more of these. He already had, I think he said 9 more pages for this particular comic, and then he's going to do some other stuff as well. So make sure to head over to our website, give him some feedback, positive, some criticism, maybe some like, hey, this or that. It's always good to have that type of feedback directly to the artist so he knows how he can improve the art. So I just want to say thank you again. I really loved it. As soon as I saw his stuff over at the MWO website, I was like, hey man, what are your plans here? Let's get your stuff out there. So it's pretty awesome. Make sure to head over to our YouTube channel as well. I'm actually going to be kicking off a few videos this weekend, focusing on a lot of the ride-along videos of chassis I haven't done so far. Even Assault Mechs. Yep, I'm going to be tackling Assault Mechs. But I am posting up the Twitch events that day, or at least as soon as I can. So make sure to check those out. It's a great way for you guys to watch the entire stream and not have to worry about Twitch. Sometimes, yeah, Twitch is annoying sometimes on there. And And of course, make sure to check out our NGNG TV channel over at Twitch. We are going to be having that charity event next Tuesday. That being said, Russ, do you think you or some of the other PGI staff could show up? Obviously this would be after you go home from work, so it wouldn't be during work hours.
Yeah, send me an email and we'd love to be involved.
Awesome. Not to put you on, spot or anything. Not like there's 90 people in here.
Not to put you on the spot, but we're putting you on the spot.
Yeah, there is a 24-hour window. And of course, I want to, sort of challenge you guys out there in the audience to help support this. Whatever your thoughts are as far as NGNG, me, Daeron, or anything, this is for, autism. And so just keep that in mind. Show up to this event. Donate what you can, spread the word, and we'll have all of this stuff up on Facebook so you guys can share it and everything. And I challenge some of you guys to stay up 24/7 if you can. If you got to work, don't stay up 24 hours. Just don't do it. That's bad juju. So don't do that.
By the way, what was my swear count tonight?
I don't know.
It was awesome, whatever it was.
Let me know.
We can make up for it.
Too much for the podcast.
No.
Please.
Darren, we drop that bomb all the time on what you're talking about.
Please.
Yeah, so anyways, guys, I just want to say thank you to our community, to everyone here in the audience, to everyone out there. You guys are amazing. It's crazy to see how NGNG is growing and more content. If you are someone who creates content, videos, artwork, songs, or whatever, a quick shout out to the guys over at I believe 4chan. They gave me and Daeron a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity of one of their YouTube videos. They sang on here. They got on here and they actually sang to me and Daeron. And we'll have to get you that link to that YouTube. It was freaking hilarious. I was laughing my ass off.
I've never been... Yeah, that was like a live performance on TeamSpeak. Never had that happen before. Those guys were pretty cool.
Yeah, the Kong guys hopped on here and they gave us... it was sort of the Aladdin song. Anyways, it had to do with the MWO. It was hilarious. We'll have to get you the link. I was freaking rolling. But anyways, again, this was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. This is Phil.
This is Daeron.
This is Brandon, also known as Catrikel.
This is Laura.
This is George.
Until next time, Mech Warriors.